It is Tuesday, February 3, 2026. And if you are looking at your calendar and, I don't know, feeling a specific kind of nervous energy in the pit of your stomach, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
We are exactly 4 days away from the start of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. And look, this isn't just any tournament.
Not even close.
India isn't just flying in to participate somewhere overseas. They are the co-hosts. And, perhaps more terrifyingly for the players, they are the defending champions.
It is a high-pressure cooker, isn't it, to put it mildly? I mean, usually when we do these deep dives, we're looking at something in the rearview mirror.
Right, something that's already happened.
Exactly, analyzing why a business failed 10 years ago or how some historical event played out. But today, the mission is totally different. We are doing a forensic audit of the Indian squad right now, in the present tense, before a single ball has been bowled.
Which is always dangerous territory for us because we could look very, very silly in about a month's time.
We could.
But we have a huge stack of sources here. Expert reviews, form guides, and some very heated debates that have been dominating the headlines this week to guide us. We aren't just reading a player list here. We're trying to understand the logic, the gamble, really, that the selectors have taken. Because looking at the squad, there is a distinct flavor to it. It feels ruthless.
Ruthless is certainly one word for it. I'd argue ideological is another. This is what many analysts in our source material are calling the Gambhir effect. You can see the fingerprints of the coach, Gautam Gambhir, all over the selection sheet.
Okay.
So the big question we're trying to answer today is simple but, heavy. Can this specific group of 15 men replicate that historic undefeated run from 2024? Or have they tweaked the formula just a little too much?
Well, let's not bury the lead. We have to start with the headline shock. The thing that has everyone on social media absolutely spiraling. You look at the squad list, you see Suryakumar Yadav SKY as captain. Okay, great.
Yep, sets a tone.
Sets a tone. Aggressive, creative, that famous 360-degree play. But then you look for his deputy. You look for the guy who is the vice captain, the guy touted as the next big thing, the prince, as they call him.
And he's not there.
And he isn't there. Shubman Gill is gone.
It's the biggest talking point in the cricketing world right now for a reason.
Yep.
And what's fascinating here is not just that he was dropped. I mean, players get dropped all the time.
Sure.
But what his omission represents philosophically. Shubman Gill wasn't just a fringe player. He was the vice captain. He was part of the leadership group.
Right.
To excise him from the squad entirely days before a home World Cup, that is a massive statement of intent about how India wants to play T20 cricket.
It feels like a changing of the guard, but fast forward. So let's unpack this. Why do the experts think this happened? Because Gill is a class act. He's technically sound. He scores runs. He looks good doing it. Why cut him?
Well, this is where the debate and the sources splits right down the middle, and it really highlights the central tension of this squad. On one side, you have the traditional pundits arguing that this is a huge mistake. They say dropping Gill removes a layer of crunch game experience. Their argument is that when you were in a World Cup semifinal and the crowd is silent because you've lost 2 quick wickets for 20 runs.
Oh, that dreaded silence.
Exactly. When that happens, you want someone with a cool head who has been there before. You want someone who can prioritize survival for a few overs.
Right, someone to anchor the innings. The guy who ensures you don't get bowled out for 120.
Precisely. The anchor role. But the other side of the argument, and this seems to be the side the selectors in Gambhir have taken, is that T20 cricket has evolved past the anchor role entirely.
Really?
The argument here is that they prioritize current form and, more importantly, raw aggression over reputation. They don't want someone to bat through the innings at a strike rate of 130.
Because in 2026, 130 is.
It's a losing strike rate on good pitches. They want chaos from ball one.
So it's a math problem, essentially. They've calculated that the risk of a collapse is worth the reward of maybe scoring 240 instead of 180.
That's it. It's volatility versus stability. And they chose volatility. They are betting that if they go hard, even if they lose wickets, the depth of the batting will carry them to a massive score.
Okay, so if Gill the stabilizer is out, who is stepping into that chaos role? Because you need someone to exploit the power play, especially on home pitches. You need those first 6 overs to be massive.
That is where the new guard comes in. The sources highlight Abhishek Sharma and Sanju Samson as the primary beneficiaries here. These are the guys identified as the top order aggressors.
Okay.
The strategy is explicitly mentioned in the analysis. Maximize the home pitch advantage early. The logic is that you can't waste the first 6 overs setting a foundation. You have to break the back of the chase or set a massive target immediately.
And Abhishek Sharma, I mean, he embodies that, doesn't he?
He really does. He plays with that see ball, hit ball mentality that SKY and Gambhir seem to love.
I get the logic, but it feels so high risk. Abhishek is explosive, sure, but he can also get out for a duck trying to hit the second ball for 6.
It is incredible risk. But that's the trade-off. You lose the safety net of Gill's consistency. Gill will probably get you 40 runs off 30 balls most days.
Right, a solid start.
But with Abhishek or Samson, you might get 70 off 30 or you might get 4 off 2. The ceiling is so much higher, but the floor is much, much lower. And the experts are saying that in a World Cup on home soil, where par scores might be 200 plus, you need that high ceiling.
Okay, so that's the top of the order. We've traded insurance for horsepower. But when I look at the rest of the squad, I feel like I'm looking at a Swiss Army knife. There are just so many options. And this brings us to what you called the Gambhir blueprint. What does that actually mean in practice? Is it just picking hitters?
No, it's more nuanced than that. If we connect this to the bigger picture of how T20s are won now, it's about matchups.
Matchups.
The experts credit Gambhir with building a tailored squad. The distinction here is important. He hasn't necessarily picked the best 11 individual cricket players in the country based on batting averages. He has picked the best team of complementary parts.
Right. It's the difference between an all-star team where everyone wants the ball and a functional unit, like Moneyball, but for cricket roles.
Similar concept, yes. And the key to that functionality here is the all-rounders. This is where India has a massive advantage according to the analytics. Just look at the list. Hardik Pandya, Shivam Dube, Washington Sundar, Harshit Rana.
That is a lot of guys who can do two things. Why does that matter so much?
It matters because of flexibility. It is luxury. Absolute luxury. Here is why the expert analysis loves this. It prevents India from being one-dimensional.
Okay, give me a scenario.
All right, imagine this. If they turn up to a pitch in Chennai that is a dust bowl, they have Washington Sundar to bowl spin in the power play against left-handers. He extends the batting lineup but gives you 4 overs of quality spin.
And if they go somewhere else, like Mohali?
Exactly. If they go to Mohali and there's a bit of grass and it's seaming, they can drop a spinner and play Harshit Rana and Hardik Pandya as proper seamers. They aren't locked into one strategy.
So they can look at the pitch an hour before the game and just pick the right tool for the job.
That's it. It's tactical flexibility. They can play the matchups perfectly. If the opposition has 3 left-handers in the top order, they bring in the off-spinner. If they have a weakness against short balls, they bring in the heavy fast bowler.
In a tournament where conditions can vary so much, that's huge.
It's worth its weight in gold. Most teams have a plan A and maybe a plan B. This squad structure gives India a plan C and D. It lets the captain, SKY, basically play a different game depending on who walks out to bat.
We have to talk about the bowling specifically, though, because you can score 240, but if you can't defend it, it doesn't matter. And the sources seem pretty bullish on India's bowling attack.
Bullish is putting it mildly. The experts view the bowling depth as world-class, and it starts with the man who is basically a cheat code in this format, Jasprit Bumrah.
The spearhead. I feel like we take him for granted sometimes because he's been so good for so long.
We absolutely do. He is the safety net for the entire high-risk strategy we just discussed with the batting. Think about it.
How so?
If the aggressive batters fail, and India only posts a par score, say 160 KL, Bumrah is the one guy who can actually defend that. He controls the run rate and takes wickets. That dual ability is so rare.
He's the panic button. When things go wrong, you just throw the ball to Bumrah.
Precisely. And he's not alone. Arshdeep Singh is there for the swing and the death overs. But being in India, the spin department has to be the main weapon, right?
Oh, absolutely. The pitches are going to turn.
And this is where that spin whip comes in. You have Kuldeep Yadav, who is a genuine wicket taker in the middle overs. He's aggressive, he flights the ball, he invites the miss hit.
He's not trying to save runs, he's trying to get you out.
Exactly. Then you have Varun Chakaravarthy, the mystery spinner.
Mystery spinner. I always love that term. It sounds like a magician. What does it actually imply for the opposition?
It effectively means the batter can't read which way the ball is going to turn from the hand. So they have to wait for it to hit the pitch, which just reduces their reaction time and slows down their scoring rate. And then you have Axar Patel, who is just deadly accurate. He hits the stumps.
Oh.
The consensus among the analysts is that this bowling attack makes India extremely difficult to beat because they have a weapon for every phase of the game. Power play swing, check.
Yeah.
Middle over mystery, check. Death over Yorkers, check.
So on paper, this looks like a juggernaut. We have explosive batting, flexible all-rounders, and a world-class bowling attack. It sounds perfect. But I know you. You've got your highlighter out on the concerns section of the report.
I do.
Where could this go wrong? Because surely it's not foolproof.
Well, this raises a really important question. Is the team too volatile? Despite all the talent, there is a lot of anxiety in the reports about consistency, specifically in that top order we talked about.
Right.
You mentioned the high risk earlier. Let's look at Sanju Samson.
Let's go there. Because for every fan who loves Sanju Samson, and there are millions, there's a critic who points at his stats and says, where is the consistency?
The scrutiny on Samson is intense. The sources explicitly note that his recent form has been under pressure. They use the word slumps. He tends to have a string of low scores, followed by a brilliant match-winning century.
Okay.
Now, the coaching staff has backed him. They clearly believe that his good days are good enough to win tournaments. But this is idea.
It feels like the leash will be very short. If Samson gets 2 ducks, the pressure will be unbearable. And that leads to the mental aspect, right? The one bad day factor.
This is huge. We have to remember the context. India won the 2024 T20 World Cup undefeated. That is a historic, rare achievement. Statistically, it is almost impossible to do that twice in a row.
It sets the bar impossibly high. Anything less than perfection feels like a regression.
Right. And experts caution that one bad day can undo everything. In a league format like the IPL, you can lose a game, adjust, and recover. In a World Cup knockout, a semifinal or final, you have one bad 40-minute period.
And you're out.
Gone. The pressure to repeat that dominance on home soil with a squad that is controversially left out its vice captain, the psychological weight is just immense.
It's not just about skill anymore, it's about nerve. Can they handle the silence of the Wankhede Stadium if they are 30 for 3?
That is the question. And it's not just pressure from within the stadium. The sources mentioned some off-field drama as well involving the schedule.
Right, there's always something off the field. What are they worried about?
Yes, the external noise. There is mention of Pakistan's boycott of a scheduled group match due to political tensions. Now, we aren't taking sides on the politics of that. That's a whole other deep dive.
Of course not.
But strictly from a team management perspective, it adds a layer of narrative complexity.
It's a distraction, isn't it? The media will be talking about boycotts and statements instead of cover drives.
Exactly. It disrupts the rhythm of the group stage. The team has to manage that noise and not let it seep into the dressing room. If you're Captain SKY, you want your team thinking about the next ball, not about international relations or schedule changes. It's just one more thing on the pile of pressure.
So we have the headline shock of Gill, the Gambier blueprint of flexibility, and the looming threat of one bad day. So what does this all mean? If we synthesize all these reports, what's the verdict?
Well, before we give the final grade, we should give a nod to the middle order. We skipped over them a bit, but Captain SKY and Tilak Varma are crucial here. The analysis describes them as providing tactical timing and finishing punch.
They're the bridge, right, between the chaos at the top and the all-rounders at the bottom.
Exactly. If the top order collapses, which, given the aggressive strategy, is entirely possible, SKY and Tilak are the ones who have to rebuild without slowing down too much.
A very difficult job.
Immensely skilled job. They can't just block. They have to consolidate at 8 or 9 runs and over to keep the team in the game.
So, expert verdict. Give it to me straight. Is this a winning squad?
The consensus is this. Positives. Deep batting, striking power, and a structure that is perfectly suited for subcontinental conditions. This team was built for these pitches.
And the negatives?
Top order uncertainty and the crushing pressure of expectations.
So they are contenders.
Oh, they are top contenders, absolutely. Right. But the line between championship success and an early exit is razor thin. It entirely depends on handling that mental pressure and whether the replacements for players like Gill specifically, Samson and Abhishek, can deliver consistency alongside their aggression.
It feels like they have built a Ferrari. It's incredibly fast, it looks amazing, but if you hit a pothole, the repair bill is expensive. It's not an off-road vehicle.
That is a very, very apt analogy. It's built for speed on a perfect track, not necessarily for a bumpy ride. And World Cups are often bumpy rides.
Okay, let's wrap this up. We've looked at the squad, the strategy, and the risks. The omission of a vice captain like Gill signals a ruthless, form-first approach. There is no room for sentimentality here.
No room for error either.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on as we count down to the opener. The experts praised this squad for being tailored to these specific conditions. It's a bespoke suit. But does hyper-tailoring a squad make it fragile?
That is the question. If the conditions change unexpectedly, if it rains and the pitch gets sticky, or if the opposition throws a curveball that disrupts that specific plan A,
Then what?
does a team built so specifically for one style of play have the adaptability to survive a scrap? We know they can dominate. We don't know if they can scramble.
And that might be the defining question of this tournament. Can they win ugly? We will find out starting February 7. Watch the opener, keep these tactical points in mind, especially that top-order aggression versus the anchor debate, and see if the gamble pays off.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive into the Indian squad.
Enjoy the cricket.